After 5 straight weeks of brewing nothing but pale beer, it's time to add some colour. Let's brew some International Amber Lager. So, I'm thinking about getting a new brewing system. It's not that there's really anything wrong with my existing one, it's just I'm using it in a way that it wasn't really intended. It's a Blickman BrewEasy, and overall this is a pretty great system. It's fully electric with a 2-vessel setup where you mash in the top kettle and through a pump water comes out of the bottom kettle and recirculates through for the mash. When the mash is done, you simply drain into the bottom kettle and boil from there. The problem is the system is intended to brew 10 gallons of beer, and I'm brewing 5-gallon batches. I mean, come on, I'm brewing every week, and who wants 10 gallons of American light lager? And the issue with these 5-gallon brew days mainly comes in the mash. Now, the way this works is there's an electric heating element in the boil kettle at the bottom, and that needs to be submerged with water the whole time. That doesn't often leave a lot of water left to recirculate for the mash. So the first problem is then balancing the amount of water so there's enough to mash at the top kettle while keeping the heating element exposed in the bottom kettle. That involves messing around with the autosparge to get it on just the right setting, and that can take a few attempts. And meanwhile, the strike water temperature is dropping during my mash. By the time I get this all sorted and recirculated properly, the 160 Fahrenheit strike water is probably down to about 125. So then I have to slowly wait for the temperature to creep back up again, which is firstly dropping my mash temperature below where I want it to be, and secondly, costing me quite a lot of time. There are other little issues too, like the fact that the built-in thermometers on these setups are below the water level while I'm mashing, so I can't use them to tell what the actual temperature is. So it would seem that I'd be better off with a beer system that matches the batch size that I'm brewing. I want it to be electric, I want it to have a pump, and I want it to give me a short brew day. I've got a few ideas in mind. I'm back at Bond Brothers with Whit Baker. Whit, what are we drinking?
So we're drinking 2 different beers, but they're also the same beer. So we have a beer called Cedar Street Copper, which is our copper lager. And this side over here, cut it with half water. So we used half water and half Cedar Street Copper to come up with a 3% session ale that looks and tastes very similar to the somewhat classic example, Negro Modelo.
It's really
it's pretty similar, right? Yeah. So, and this version, the 7% version, is kind of like an imperial, way more intense. Which you actually can try that too if you haven't tried both. Yeah. So you'll notice if you can look closely, there's a difference in color too. Even though this has close to brilliant clarity for a lager, the half water, half lager is even clearer. And where this has a red tone, this has kind of an amber brown tone. But yeah, amber and international lagers are kind of a high adjunct typically, so we use 20% corn. You expect and you should get darker flavors than a light lager where there should be some caramel, there should be some sweetness, there should be some hop flavor, and you can have this like copper to light copper, even red being a hard color to get because every red beer you see, no matter how red it is, Rodenbach is a really good example of red beer, is a combination of yellow and brown. It's not actually red.
Everything's a combination of yellow and brown.
Yeah, pretty much in beer. That's some combination of yellow and brown. Yeah. That is the entire palate. Unless you add fruit to it, right?
Cool. You know the jungle has its rules, and I just gotta keep it cool, and I'll be treated like a tool. So don't be acting like a fool.
Now the recipe for this one, it's based on a German Pilsner malt base. I'm brewing 6 gallons and I have 10 pounds of German Pilsner. Then Munich malt, I'm using light Munich malt, 1 pound 4 ounces of that, and then 12 ounces each of Caramel 60 and Victory Malt. That should give me a beer with a gravity of about 1050, so it's going to come out around 5%. I'm going to mash in at 152 Fahrenheit. Okay, mash went well. It's time to add the first hop addition, the bittering hop. I'm using 1 ounce of Perle hops, And they go in here at 60 minutes.
Do better for yourself.
And then at the end of the boil, 0 minutes, I am putting 1 ounce of Hallertauer in. For the yeast, I'm using German lager yeast, that's WLP 830, and that's going to go in at 55 Fahrenheit. So this is the beer, International Amber Lager. I've got Lauren here to try it with me. So first of all, Lauren, appearance. Is it amber?
Yes, it is quite amber. Very amber.
It definitely looks the part. So let's see how the aroma is. Okay, so hop aroma I would say is none.
No, I don't have any hop aroma.
Grainy, malty, definitely.
Ooh, that's a...
It's sweet, I would say, a little sweet, malty, and quite English.
I taste more of the malts than I did smell the malts.
Yeah.
But it's very smooth, and I do agree with English.
All right, well, I think this came out as a success.
Yep, cheers.
Cheers.